Welcome back to Marvel Puzzle Quest with me, P.I. McLeod, and we're here on day, 4152? We are here today for our weekly Crash the Titans. No big deal, right? But I have to do this one because it's kind of new. Look back in the playlists, we have archives here set up, and you'll notice that there's a Gertrude one, but it's only back when she had a single one. She didn't have two like she does now. So I figure we'll run this again. We got those two nodes down there, so the first one's against Craven, and then it looks like we have Lizard right next to there, so we'll go against him as well. Craven's first. Craven the Hunter came out in MPQ a long time ago, back when 4-star Rocket was really a problem. He countered him pretty well, unfortunately. He probably could do better nowadays if they revisited him, buffed him up a bit. But Craven's whole thing, if you don't know, is he has a purple passive that says if the enemy team has 4 or more strike, attack, or protect tiles on the board at the start of his turn, he's going to depower all the enemy strike, attack, protect, as long as there's 4 or more, for a decent amount, and then do a nice passive hit of damage. His black, it doesn't give you much bang for your buck. It's just a small time nuke. Basically, it subtracts some of your AP from a color and then some of the enemy's AP from a color, and it does more damage based on how much AP is truly lost in the end. But it costs 10, and you're spending that 3 extra, up to 3 I think it is, extra on top of it just to get this small nuke out. And oh yeah, and it's a countdown, 1 turn countdown. So, if something kills that countdown, you just spent AP on nothing. And then there's the blue, which makes a trap tile that every turn that passes by, it steals 1 AP from the enemy. If it gets matched by the enemy, then it converts some tiles to your strongest color. It's really worthless. It's easily the worst of his power. You can only have 1 of them on the board. It costs, I want to say like 10 to put it out there, if I remember correctly. And it's just 1 AP a turn, and it's a trap, which those get overwritten. It's just not good. He's not a good character anymore. He was only good for 1 shtick, and that was his purple passive, using that against characters like Rocket. So this shouldn't be too hard. Gertrude definitely has the upper hand over Craven, and let's see why. Gertrude York's one of the very few runaways we have in the game. She was our 3rd one they gave us, right after Carolina Dean and then Nico. Gertrude really only has 2 things to rest on. One of them is this prehistoric pairing. If you look at it, it's kind of like 4-star Deadpool's black passive, only a little more lenient in some ways. If her or an ally would take at least 10% of their current, and that's a big deal here, their current health in damage, you create a 1-turn yellow countdown tile that deals a decent amount of damage. Then you improve a friendly strike, protect, or attack tile by an okay amount for every runaway on the team. Let's be honest, no one's making a team of all 3 runaway characters, but if you did, it'd be a decent amount. 10% of their current health and damage. As you take hits, your current gets smaller and smaller, right? So this is going to go off more and more often. It actually gets triggered quite often. Now, it doesn't help that she's 4-star by nature, but you could rank her up, ascend her to 5-star, and it could be pretty good. 10% of your current health would hit a good amount of times, as long as you can get her to last through some of those heavy hits we do nowadays with our up-and-coming 5- and 4-star characters, right? That's a lot of countdowns going down from 1 to 0, and that's a lot of damage. Oh, and yes, it does piggyback with Deadpool, just in case you were curious. The other thing that she's really good at is this purple ability, Clever Claws. For 7 purple, so it's not a bad price, like mid-cost, you could choose 5 basic tiles to become trap tiles. If they are matched or destroyed by the enemy, then they deal damage plus extra damage if there's another runaway on the team. The main point here is you choose basic tiles to become trap tiles. Why is that a big deal? Because that doesn't happen. We don't have any other power in the game anywhere that lets you choose where to put your traps. Now you might ask yourself again, why does it matter? Traps kind of suck, they get overwritten, it doesn't matter where I'm really putting them. Yes, it does. The computer has to make match 4s and higher when it sees them. It's just a rule of the game. If there's a match 4, the computer has to make it, right? You save your purple, and you wait for a nice match 4 to pop up. Anything. Doesn't matter the color, the computer has to take it. And when that match 4 appears, then you pop these down right along that match 4. Because it says if they matched or destroyed by the enemy, it deal X amount of damage there. You could cast this twice if you had 14 purple. Line up the whole row if you want to. That's a lot of damage just to inflict on someone, because you're basically taking advantage of the computer's lack of good programming, if I can call it that. you know, we're just anticipating their next move and taking advantage of it. That's what it is. She's got the only ability in the game that lets you do that with traps, and it's honestly not mentioned enough. Finally, stinker of her abilities, Dino Strike. I'll pump it up to 5 so you can see it at full blast. You deal meh damage, plus extra damage, though, for each strike, protect, or attack tile combined that you have more of than the enemy, up to a max of 5. So you could have a lot of damage here, but you need to have enough strike, protects, or attacks combined more than the enemy. But then you create 3 okay strength red strike tiles. It's okay. There's a lot of moving parts in here, right? Yes, her yellow helps you boost these tiles more, so you might think these would go good together with the red and the yellow passive. But in the end, it's not enough bang for your buck right now. You can't guarantee that you're going to get all that damage out there unless your other 2 characters are just pumping out tiles left and right. In the end, Gertrude Yorks is kind of a character that's used to come from behind and get a win. She's definitely an underdog character. She can be used with underdog teams like 4-star Deadpool, or utilize countdown abilities like Coulson or 5-star Hawkeye, things that can really abuse that shtick. But if you don't have a solid plan going into play, you just can't use her to go and just bulldoze your way through. She's not an extremely offensive character. She's someone you have to play from behind the 8 ball and try to wiggle up from being in an underdog position. But hey, you know what? I don't have a 5-star Gertrude, so what do I know? Maybe you know better. For our one-on-one fight, the first of 2, Craven versus Gertrude, and go. So starting off with just a couple early match 5s here. I think the game is, I don't know, being extra nice here. Shouldn't see 2 match 5s like that early, but here we are. Take what we can get, right? And within just a moment here, we're already going to get a purple fired off, which will be nice. I don't know if we're going to get to see her yellow fired off, though. We'd have to have the enemy actually hit us decently. So we could put out up to 5 traps on basic tiles that we want, right? We can put them anywhere we want out here as long as it's a basic tile. Unfortunately, I don't see any match 4s. I'd like to be able to force the computer's hand, you know? So let's hold on to the purple and wait for us to be able to force that option. So I don't see anything really juicy right there. I'm going to move this just to try to shake the board up a bit, see if we can get a match 4 to appear somewhere. Not seeing a good one really, am I? I'll take the red though. Well, we can fire the red at least, get that going. Must be nice to have a pet dinosaur just leap out at people whenever you want. That's a unique ability of some sort. Would have been handy in the Jurassic Park movies. There's a match 4. Okay, so Craven's gonna go bye-bye now. We put out these clever claws right here, 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 and then we can do here and here. We know they're gonna take that 1 yellow, move it up, and match 4 away that entire row. They're gonna trigger all those traps. So all we have to do is just play stupid, basically. Make a match that doesn't involve that. So we'll do like right... Oh, let's see. I'm thinking actually we'll destroy one of ours right here to make sure this works. Just that. There we go. Easy peasy. So that's 1 fight down. Craven the Hunter is no more, but that was the one we had before. We had that fight before, but 2 years ago on her last Crash the Titans. Here's the one that they gave us new for this year. So Gertrude now has 2 fights for Crash the Titans, so that means double the LTs for us. So let's take it. We're going against the Lizard. Lizard focuses a lot more heavily on repeater tiles, a pretty easy to fire off stun mechanic, has a team hitting in his green, but it requires a lot of, well, again, moving parts. I want to say it's called ectothermic. I think it costs 8 green. You hit the entire enemy team for a small amount of damage, but then it's boosted if you have a certain amount of blue tiles or more, and then boosted again if you have a certain amount of red tiles or less. So you get it. You kind of like, it's the cold-blooded thing. You know, you want more blue, less red. Anyways, it's easily the worst of his 3 powers, at least in my opinion. Not enough bang for your buck and too many moving parts. The black is a stun that has a passive attached to it. You could use it for, I want to say it's 7 black, stun someone for 3 turns. And it makes a countdown that while it's out there, it does like a little bit of regen health per turn. Or as a passive, if you get hit so hard, like a certain amount, he instead just kind of negates some of the damage by leaving his tail behind. You know, kind of like that lizard shtick where their tail kind of lops off. He does that. The tail comes off. He doesn't take some of the damage. He gets the countdown. He starts regenerating health per turn again. Of course, you can't get that to fire off again until that countdown, well, resolves or goes away somehow. So there's that. But still, you can fire it off actively as a 7 black AP stun for 3 turns. Note, there's not a ton of black stun powers in the game, so it's kind of cool to team with other stun peoples. And then finally, his purple, very unique power called R Complex. Costs 7 purple. He makes 4 repeaters, 1-turn repeaters, I should say, in the bottom row, and they come fortified. Every turn, they move up a spot, like they're elevating through the board, right? They switch with the tile above them. Okay, so they move up a spot, and whatever tile was above them goes below them. And if they weren't fortified for some reason, you know, someone matched, destroyed something, and lost their fortification, then they refortify when they move up. If they reach the top, so it's going to take 7 turns, right, or more, they each of them do a good amount of damage for when they reach the top. The more important point here is you have a 1-turn repeater that's basically ticking down to 0 every turn and refortifying itself. For 7 purple, you get 4 repeaters. Do you know any characters like repeaters? There's a good amount of them out there. Do you know characters like fortified tiles? There's a good amount of them out there. This guy check marks those boxes, right? And by doing so, he is guaranteeing you have 4 fortified tiles every turn as soon as you cast that off. Cast it again, you'll have more, because those tiles are raising up, right? And you can put more on the bottom row. You could flood the board. Oh yeah, he also gets damage resistance for each R complex on the board. It's actually a really good character. Not enough people use him and abuse him. He's really good. The only thing holding him back is that he doesn't have any passive that just keeps him alive at 0 AP. That tail losing thing isn't enough to save him from nowadays Shang-Chi and Chasm issues. Get past that, feed him a little bit of AP, and he's honestly a powerhouse. He can build you a lot of AP with his raising repeaters. He can bring fortified and repeater tile game mechanics to your board with 1 move. He has a stun built in for other effects. I just wouldn't play with his green team hitter that much though, just being honest. This fight might be a little harder if he gets the AP off to do what he wants, but we'll see. Gertrude's pretty useful, so now that you know what she does already, we don't have to go into that. We will heal her up and go about it again. So we have Gertrude's Dino Old Lace versus the Lizard. They got a nice cascade on us, and they already got 4 purple. So that R complex is probably coming out. We're definitely going to want some red and some purple. I only see the red though right now, so we'll take what we can get. I think I only see that 2 options of that yellow match. I'll just do that, I guess. He has to take the red, which he's not going to use. Take what? This blue? Sure. We don't have a lot of good matches. There we go. That red popped in just in time. I kind of almost want the Lizard to hit somehow, because that way we get to see Gertrude's yellow passive go off. We haven't seen that yet. So here we go. Pop that in. Oh, we got the tail whip tile came out. See? Each turn, restore some health to Lizard. While on the board, Lizard cannot trigger Tail Whip or create another Tail Whip countdown tile. So long as it's out there, he can't be doing that again. But it is very handy if you have a way to, I don't know, get rid of a stray countdown tile just so you can cast Tail Whip again. People like, you know, Mighty Thor come to mind. Just saying. we'll do this right there. Get that purple rolling. I don't see any match 4s, otherwise I'd put that down. Oh boy, he's got enough purple. There goes the tail whip. I got a stun now. That's why they put the black at 3 and not at 5, because I don't think they want the player to be stunned that long for this fight. There we go. Oh, and then they just destroy it. That's cute. Not much I could have done there. They just got rid of it. Yesterday's trash, right? I'm going to take that blue into red combo. I could see Lizard's R complex come out next turn. That's good. Take the purple again. Might as well build it up, right? There you go. There's those 4 self-fortifying 1-turn repeaters. It's honestly good stuff. It really is. I guess I'll just do that. But see, they're going to go right back up and fortify. It's good just to show an example, I guess. Of course, I could do this and move that one back down, kind of delay it from going up to the top. But it'll eventually get there if you let it. They haven't really presented me with much. I'll do this Dino Strike, though. Oh. I don't know if you see the cat tail here, but I'm going to get rid of that tail whip. He doesn't need to regen any more health. Never mind, he's just going to do it again. I guess I could have kept it out there so he couldn't have done that, but... if those R complexes get up there, those are going to hurt a bit. Each of them does a lot of damage. That would kill me. Could do something to lower these down, huh? Like that. That one will take longer to get up there now. And of course the match 4 black came down right there. So if I leave that yellow, those yellows alone down here, these ones, those 2 repeaters are going to move up and make a match 4. That'll count. So I can make him fall right into the trap and I don't have to do much for it. Because it's just going to happen. So I'm going to go Clever Claws right here, 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 and here. He's going to make the match 4 with me with his R complex. I got to put one more down. I guess it really doesn't matter where it goes. We'll throw it over here on the side for fun. Okay. Hey, if you're going to use this ability called Clever Claws, you got to be clever yourself. Put that yellow there. Okay, so it made most of it matched away. Still worked, because they're dead now. Give me that team up. Thank you. That's it. Gertrude can get it done. It's funny, she's got some of the best trap tile making mechanics in the game, but not some of the best passive tile mechanics for it. She'd be one of the best trappers if she could just get a little extra help on that front. But if you need traps and you want them to work, just putting them where you want is a big deal, and that's where she comes into play. And that was it, though. That's Gertrude York's Crash the Titans. So now she has 2 fights instead of 1. Thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate it, and I'll talk to you later.